This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Aquarius, happening on August the 12th. At 11:36 if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So in terms of taking that moment to ritualize and to cast your spells and to feel the energy of Luna, I suggest that you do it on either the evening of the 11th or the evening of the 12th. It's kind of even Steven really. The exactitude point is at lunchtime. So if you're a stickler for the details, then cast your spells at lunchtime. But if you were wanting the physical experience of a moon bath, then do it on the 11th or 12th, or both, whatever you like. How was your triple conjunction, Sag? So if you remember 2 weeks ago, we talked about Mars and Uranus and the North Node coming into that triplet and the potential for combustion, the potential for a tower moment in a way. This is your 6th house, so this is your daily rhythms, it's your work, you're paying the bills, it's your sort of very localized environment. It's also your health and body as well. So how did everything go? Was everything sort of, did you feel the shift? Did you feel the potential for revolution in some way? Did you feel the pressure in your workaday life? That might be a good way to explain the 6th, the workaday life. It's sort of, it's the house that focuses on the details and the sort of moment to moment task of living. So what combustion or what sort of revolution occurred there? One way to think positively about Astroland is to maybe zoom out a bit and think of Taurus itself and think of Taurus representing the land and the earth. And in my environment in Australia, we had a commitment by our very new government for an Indigenous voice to Parliament, which is revolutionary in my understanding of the cause. It's been something that has been vitally necessary for, you know, the 200 some years that we've existed as a civilization. You know, the reparations that are going to be made and committed to in government, in law, are essential for us moving forward with that passionate Mars energy. And that was a real point of focus that occurred to us as Australians, and it's not set in stone yet, but the activation is there. The beginnings and the conviction and commitment to this process are all happening now. So that's one way to look at this conjunction in a really positive, high vibrational light, and to be thankful for the movement upstairs. I think in some ways maybe there could have been some difficulty for you, Sagittarius, in terms of work or health or something like that. So I want to encourage the ability to zoom out and think about us collectively, and then also, you know, experience your individual experience as well. And, you know, it's very valid, very valid. Maybe not to be so frightened of the astrology and consider it in terms of like essential movement. That might be one good way to look at it too. So this full moon in Aquarius is affecting, triggering, lighting up your 3rd house of communication. Also your localized environment in your village. So when we think of 3rd house, we think of our ability to translate information and share it. So it's kind of, it's like the bush telegraph in some ways. So to have a full moon here, which isn't in conjunction with Saturn as well. So Saturn, remember, the physicality, restriction, boundaries in a really positive light. This full moon is probably a full Saturn too, because of the sun's position. So there's a lot of bright energy being reflected back to us from Saturn as well. So in a high vibration and positivity and light, we can think of boundaries. So there might be some direct voicing of your boundaries that are occurring around this time. It might be a beautiful moon to really set your convictions and to set up your boundaries in terms of the way that you're expressing yourself. Maybe in regard to the sixth house, if things are being turbulent and if things are, setting themselves on fire and it's a bit of chaos, then this would be a great moon to reestablish boundaries for yourself in your communication styles. I'll talk about the tarot card that's lining up with the moon. So 19 degrees of Aquarius is the Six of Swords, which, if you can see, is all about boundaries. There are three figures here who are actively moving away from turbulence. They're traveling on water, which is emotions. The swords represent our thoughts. And in this configuration, it looks to me as if there is a protective barrier as far as truth and as far as intellect is concerned in this forward movement. The decision is active to move away from choppy emotional turbulence into something clear and flat and safe, and a place where we can reflect is another way to look at this too. So in your full moon journey, I would be really encouraging you to be proud of yourself for the boundaries perhaps that you've had to set, or the boundaries that you are going to set with the encouragement of this full moon. This could be in terms of your local environment, your neighborhood. It could be your brothers and sisters. It could be just simply the way that you're expressing yourself, the way that through intellect. There's probably some direct truth that you can give out in order to protect yourself and the ones you love. So yeah, turbulence in the sixth house might be a bit sticky. I hope that everything's all good with health, and I'm sure that it is, but this also might be a great example of setting boundaries with yourself in terms of your physical health and in terms of your physical health goals. Could be to do with some mental health stuff too. It could be about setting some clarity, moving away from turbulence in order to find clarity and to find the truth. That might be something here too. So that's the zodiac. I'm going to keep that fairly simple. This card is really just quite emblematic of all of the different conversations I've had with all the different signs today. It's a really good one. And yet the language of the tarot is so malleable and beautiful in that way that you can write a book, and people have, on every single different card. And the way that you look at it and from what perspective and also what time and place can really inform what you see. That's part of the process, part of the magic trick of divination, is really centering yourself and maybe separating yourself maybe from the thought of it, moving away from that just for a moment, and then just describing what you see at this time. I don't know if you're a tarot reader, you might not be. You could be. That's an encouraging thing to remember. We can all be tarot readers. Okay, so that's the zodiac, that's the astrology, Sag. So I'm going to pull you some intuitive tarot. And there might be some messages in here of support or of confirmation for you, just to really kind of this. I think for everybody, that this full moon in Aquarius is really a moment to take their moment and to step aside from the comings and goings and potential combustions, potential disintegrations of old structures. If there's something in here about you sort of maybe feeling remorseful, perhaps for maybe in the way that you were communicating, it came out wrong because of that square between Taurus and Aquarius, between the 6th and the 3rd. you can make reparations for that too. If there was some, apologies that you needed to make, or if there was some re-examination of an issue that you needed to do, then this would be the moon to do it. Your first card is the Nine of Pentacles. Great. That's really great. Oh, I can see you right there, Sag. Yeah. So this is, again, a moment of solitude, a moment of alone time in a really bountiful sense. So you can see this figure here is just in their tomato, amidst their tomato vines, beautiful sunset, the company of their little bird on their hat, and they're just marveling at what they've created. And their quiet time, their solitude, their boundaries have been quite fruitful. Their commitment to task has been really fruitful. They're in a moment of real kind of relaxation and celebration about what it is that they've achieved. So that's a great space to be at a full moon, isn't it? Okay, a couple more, please. I got the Nine of Cups. Again, another moment of stepping away and of quiet contemplation and of pride in, if we think about cups in terms of water, so emotional literacy or our emotional capacity to process. That might be something that's happening for you here as well, Sag. So yeah, 9-9. That's really great. I wonder what will come out third. That one that fell out. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it because I'm being... Spirit's jesting me. Spirit's egging me on. Did you see that fall out? And I was going to pop it back into the deck, but I couldn't resist. It's the Nine of Wands. So there we are. Beautiful 999 energy. That's a beautiful, beautiful message of reflection. And the Nine of Wands here can, too much fire can be exhausting, but this is upside down. This is in reversal. So I would take that as the pressure being let off, being, the pressure's off, Sag, for the moment. This is your time to reflect at this moon. 999, one translation of that numerology is a space of reflection. It's kind of coming near the end of a cycle. The next card to come up after the nines is the tens, and that's the completion of a cycle. You're nearly there. And if you look at the solitude of each of these three figures, the only one that's sort of a bit exhausted is our old Nine of Wands, but they're upside down at this time. So again, I'll say it, it's the pressure's off. The pressure's off for you to reflect on your emotional abilities and your capacity to love and your vibrancy in that area. I think there's not a Sagittarian that I don't know that is incredible at love, and also your ability to provide for yourself. And your hard work is really paying off, and you're in a space of contemplation and reflection. I can't believe that happened, but you know what? It's just, that's kind of what's happening in the room today. So yeah, Aquarius, full moon in your third with the boundaries of Saturn by your side. There might be some letters that you might like to write, Sag. That might be a really nice thing to do at this full moon. There could be some communication that you can do in slow, what's the term? You can do in analog. Use a pen and a paper and maybe spend this full moon to write some letters and have them be maybe one to yourself in terms of the reflection in what you've achieved and who you are and where you are now. And perhaps if there's others that you need to communicate with, and if you've been thinking about it for a while, it might be the perfect evening to write it down with a pen and a paper. And you can always decide if you'd like to send those letters later on. You never, that's the beautiful thing about analog, isn't it? Is that it's not sort of quick fire energy that's, out there in the digital ether straight away. There's a ceremony, a ritual in that. It's always a great time to write something to the full moon and to set it on fire and to set it free. But I wonder if there's something here. 999 is reflection. So maybe this full moon is your night to reflect and to communicate with boundaries. There you go, Sagittarius. That's your reading for the full moon in Aquarius. There's your sand all gone. Oh God, I've dropped the cards. I'll get them later. Much love to you. If you wanted to send me some tip money, you can always do that at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby. Always very much appreciated. Not essential though. If you wanted to get your birth chart read, I can do that over at umaruby.com. We can set up an appointment and we can journey together with the tarot and with the astrology and discover any answers to any questions that you may have. There's a couple of different options there, so have a read and have a think, and I'll hear from you soon. Much love, many full moon blessings, and I'll speak to you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Virgo. Take care.